started. I'm Larry Halton with the City Manager's Office. I think I know all of you. But let's go around real quick. Who's here from what departments?
Lori Parks, Office of Economic Development.
Carrie Cruz with the Budget Office.
Ooh, Budget Office. Okay.
Mark Rasmussen, Engineering. David Johnson, Engineering. Eric Steele, Engineering.
Great.
Tim Shanahan, Operating.
Hi, Tim.
Agency. Ron Ward, Parks and Rec. Jeff May, Public Works.
The Des Moines Library Foundation.
Great, thank you. And Laura.
Laura Graham, City Manager's Office. Sarah Capone, Library. Tony Nelson.
We got good library representation. And coming in late, not least.
Lisa from Human Resources.
Great.
And Shelley Tatter from City Clerk's Office.
This is one of the events, the tasks that the city does that's actually a lot of fun. It's very important work, very important to all the agencies that we try to help out. I know that Amanda's worked really hard getting it organized, as Laura did last year, as the committee did, helping Amanda. But it's really a fun deal. I told the city manager a number of times, probably the most fun thing we do as a city is that silly chili cook-off. I mean, we really have a good time with that. It's really fun to go down there and meet people you don't see until the next chili cook-off. So I'm glad everybody's here. This is the important part, kicking off the whole deal. Amanda's going to run through the program. I appreciate everybody's work on these issues. It's hard when the city itself is always looking at how to find money, how to do things with the resources we have. It's really difficult, but every year the city employees come together and really make Des Moines shine as far as helping others out that need a little help along the way. So with that, Amanda.
Thanks, Larry. So I want to start off by just thanking all 11 charities that we've selected this year for coming here and presenting today, just giving our employees a little snapshot of what your organization does. I also want to thank the 2014 Combined Charities Committee for all their help. It's a big task, like Larry said, and Laura knows as well. So all those guys are always willing to step up to the challenge, so thanks for that. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. Last year, Laura and her team launched a website, so it was a little bit easier for employees to jump on the internet and donate, pick your charity. This year, just a few changes to that. One of them being, you'll actually be able to access, employees will be able to access the website via a mobile device, so your iPads, your phones, anything like that. So we're just trying to make it easier for people to get on and contribute. So the other change that we have to the website will be that you're able this year to use your employee login, so your Gmail login for the city of Des Moines, which is a little bit different than last year. The website will launch on Monday, October 7th, so I will send out a link so that everyone knows that that'll be up and available. The other part is today's presentations will be recorded, and those will also be available Monday on the website. So any employee that wasn't able to attend today can go on and check out the charities and see what they have to say. So with that, I will turn it over to our first presenter. It's Animal Lifeline, and we have Hannah Baines and Little Bo.
Good afternoon. My name is Hannah. I'm with Animal Lifeline of Iowa. And for those of you who have never heard of us or don't know much about us, we are a special needs specific no-kill shelter here in Des Moines. And what we do is we specialize in taking care of cats and dogs that are injured, handicapped, pregnant or nursing, orphaned and need to be bottle fed, have a serious medical condition or a serious injury. So this is Bo. He's an 8-year-old Lhasa Apso mix. And he actually has a neurological condition. He came to our shelter from another rescue because he has a neurological condition that causes his back legs to not work the way they should. So he's currently undergoing underwater therapy treatment at our vet clinic. He's also has a special harness that we place on both of his back feet to help him walk better. But it probably never will be cured, but at least he has the tools to help him succeed a little so it's not so uncomfortable. Animal Lifeline is a no-kill shelter, so we do not receive any sort of government funding. We rely solely on the donations and proceeds of our thrift shop. We've been part of this combined charities for several years now, and we can't tell you how much we really appreciate it. It really does make a difference. It helps us care for the animals that come into the shelter like Bo. And we're a very small shelter, but we deal with a lot of special needs specific cases that a lot of traditional shelters or other rescues don't have the resources to care for, so they just immediately euthanize them. So we give them the second chance that they deserve, and we provide them temporary care until they find their forever home.
All right, thanks, Hannah. Up next, we have Lindsay Pingle from the Food Bank of Iowa. Is Lindsay in here?
Good afternoon. I always feel weird going after ARL or Animal Lifeline because I don't bring anything fun. I'm sorry. My name is Lindsay Pingle, and I'm with the Food Bank of Iowa. I appreciate you having me here today. Just to give you a little bit of background, our organization, we serve a diverse population through a network of 375 partner agencies in 55 counties. 42 of our counties are served through our facility here in Des Moines, and the remaining 13 are served through our redistribution organization in Ottumwa, the Food Bank of Southern Iowa. Our networks include pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, nonprofit daycares, residential housing for youth and seniors. The individuals we serve, they're kind of hard to find. We are serving food insecure Iowans throughout our communities. And when I say food insecure, I'm talking about individuals who lack the resources to live a healthy and active lifestyle. As this week you've probably heard with cuts to the Farm Bill and with the government shutdown, 1 in 8 Iowans are food insecure, meaning they don't know where their next meal is coming from. As a mom, this next statistic just gets me every time. 1 in 5 children don't know when they're going to eat. Over 395,000 Iowans live at or below the poverty line. And they're in this situation because of an unforeseen medical cost, unemployment, underemployment, higher prices at the gas pump, the grocery store, medical bill, you name it. They're our neighbors, our friends, our families, our coworkers. Hunger doesn't look in Iowa like it does on TV, so sometimes it's hard to see if there's a problem and what it is, but I can assure you it is a problem. People are fighting it every day, but with community support from individuals like yourself, organizations, you're vital to what we do and helping those who are struggling. Last year, we had a record-breaking year. It's not really something to celebrate. We distributed over 9 million pounds of food. That was an increase of about 1 million from last year, the year before, and it was record-breaking for us. So while we hear that things are getting better with the economy and things are starting to turn around, which we're happy about, we know that there's still an issue. Besides traditional food banking, distributing food, we also have a number of programs that we offer. The backpack program. Currently, this program serves 3,500 children each week at 86 sites in 21 counties. This program provides children who have been identified at the school level as chronically hungry. It provides them with a sack of food on the weekends when they don't have access to the federal free and reduced price lunch program. So right now we are at 3,500. At the beginning of January of 2014, we will add on an additional 200. So we say by the end of June, by the time school is getting out, we will have distributed in the past year over 148,000 sacks of food to children on the weekends. So again, we're really proud of that, making sure that more children are getting enough to eat. But again, it's scary because we know how many we're not hitting. Another program that we launched just this last March, the Mobile Pantry Program. We're currently going out into 4 rural communities once every 3 months and setting up a farmers market style distribution. We've partnered with community leaders and volunteers in local communities have come. We take our truck full of food, we deliver it, and individuals in those communities are able to come and pick up that product. So far, we've distributed over 22,000 pounds in 3 runs. So we're hoping to expand that and make that more frequently, but we're really taking a target into some northern Iowa counties that don't have access to some of the services maybe they do here. We also are in the 2nd year of our Fresh Produce Program. This is a partnership between the Food Bank of Iowa and the Department of Corrections. We have 12 dedicated acres of garden space at the Newton Correctional Facility. The inmates, they plant, they tend, they pick it, and all of the produce comes through our doors into our agency's hands, and they take it into their communities to those who are struggling. We're very proud. We've had almost 200,000 pounds of fresh produce go out in the last 2 years. So we're very proud of that because not only do individuals who are struggling to receive food, making sure they have the most healthy product is the most beneficial we can do. And finally, last year we celebrated 10 years of the HUSH program. This is the partnership between the Food Bank, the Iowa DNR, meat lockers, and hunters, where hunters are allowed to go out after the normal season and kill deer, and then donate it. All of the venison is donated legally and distributed through the food banks. This program is unique to the state of Iowa, 10 years as I said, but again, venison is such a nutritious, high protein item that those who are struggling need. So we're very proud of our programs and hope to keep expanding them more. And I don't know if we say it enough, but we can't do what we do without our community partners. And we understand that not everyone can make a donation of financially or of food, but volunteering, coming to our facility or out to one of our events throughout the community and giving some of your time does wonders for us. Helping pack 148,000 sacks of food in the next year, we're not going to be able to do that without volunteers. All of the food that comes in has to be sorted, make sure it's categorized, it's fresh, it's okay, and that's where we need your help. And we're also always looking for advocates on our behalf. If you're willing to go out and talk about what we stand for, who we are, help people understand. Because again, we know at the food bank that hunger, sometimes it's hard to see. It doesn't look like maybe it does on TV. So just being able to be a voice for us, we have a staff of 15, is so beneficial. So that's kind of what I have to say today, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Friends of Des Moines Parks, Dr. Mike.
Thanks. Excuse me. I'm Dr. Mike Eberly. I'm a veterinarian. I'm representing the Park Board Foundation Board. If I thought it would help, I would have brought a dog. Please don't be swayed by that cheap gimmick. I promise you another thing. If you'll send money my way, I'll keep this very short. We do a lot of things. As you know, the city council and the city decision makers keep cutting funding to lots of things. Police and fire are never going to get cut, nor should they. So we find ourselves increasingly taking over programs that the city used to take care of. 4 years ago, we took over the swimming program scholarships at the Red Cross Drive. So we spend a lot of money now. Every year that grows. We bought equipment for yoga in the park. We do movies in the park. We sponsor that. Last week or the week before, I can't remember already, we launched that handicap boat ramp at Grays Lake. So people with disabilities, especially our young men and women coming back, can canoe and kayak and get in and out of the water. So we need your help. Last year, this group gave us over $7,000. We hope to double it this year, and I promise you it'll go to a good cause. I think parks are the most important thing for the most people. Everybody enjoys parks and trails. Thank you.
Okay, next up we're going to hear from Susan Voss with Des Moines Public Library Foundation.
Hello, and thank you for being here. Thomas Jefferson said, "I cannot live without my books." And Frank Zappa said, "Everything you can learn in a library." Libraries are one of our most important free resources in the city. As you know, we have our lovely central library downtown, but more important, we have 5 branches around the city. And we also have a bookmobile that we help pay for. The Library Foundation is the group that provides the additional resources for the Avid program for summer reading, where we helped over 200 young people last year. We provide storybook times, additions to the collections, and any other types of special programs. The Avid series, we have some information over on the table for you. We know that more cuts are coming to all of the activities that are so vital to a flourishing community, and we think the library is one of those. Tonight we're going to have our one-time fundraiser of the year for the public library system, and we hope to raise about $80,000. But as we see cuts coming, we know that we can't have a sustainable library without good collections and lots of programming and resources. Our libraries often are the one stop for young people after school, where we can provide them a safe haven, good books, some classes, and even some entertainment. It's also an area where we help seniors. We just launched a program to help seniors with their electronics. Many of us are electronically challenged at the senior level, and we now have a program that a senior can bring in their iPhone, their iPad, whatever it is, and we can help them link up to their kids and their grandkids and provide them those, even some Kindles and iPads for free. So we hope you will consider that we are helping preschoolers to seniors and everybody in between with the resources that are free to them on a regular basis. Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to hear from Teal Bader with United Way.
Thank you. I'm not as talented in them as far as remembering stats and figures, so I brought notes, I brought backup. But I just want to start by sharing a little bit of a story about myself and just admitting to all of you how before my journey began with United Way, how naive I was as far as the challenges that face this community. You know, you hear statistics and you think things, and I think, you know, going back to what the gal said before, you know, it doesn't look like it does on TV, and I just kind of dismissed things. And I thought, you know, I get in my bubble and I go to work and I take my daughter to school and I just don't see these issues that I'm hearing about. And then my journey with United Way began, and I got a much needed education on the real needs that there are in the community. And so I've been really, felt really privileged to be a part of United Way. Again, my numbers. Some of the concerns that I've learned about and got to witness, I guess unfortunately seen with my own eyes, just as far as kids and poverty and just their kind of journey on with education. We know that kids in poverty start kindergarten typically 2 years behind academically and socially than their peers who come from middle income families. And typically when they start behind, they stay behind. And if the kids aren't reading proficiently by the end of third grade, they're 4 times more likely to drop out of high school. And that was something that, you know, it used to not resonate with me, but now it very much does so. We also know that youth who drop out of high school earn an average of over $700,000 less over the course of their lifetime than those who do have a high school education. And we know that those who drop out are 3 times more likely to be unemployed, 5 times more likely to become a teen parent, and 10 times more likely to become incarcerated. I'm going to use this. So United Way kind of thought, okay, what are we going to do about it with these statistics? And those are just a handful of them. But you know, if these are our reality facing our community, how are we going to get involved, and what are we going to do about it? And so they came up with and set some high goals for, they call them the goals of 2020. And these goals are kind of in the areas of education, income, and health. Those being the root causes that if we can make some significant progress in those areas, that we can really start to see community change. So the goals for 2020 are that in central Iowa that we would cut by half the number of high school students who don't graduate on time, cut by half the number of low-income families who are financially unstable, and cut by half the number of people who are living unhealthy lifestyles. Now you hear those things and okay, that sounds great, but ultimately they're just, words on paper unless we have ways to actually attain those goals. And United Way is not the end-all be-all solution to that, but it's partnering with agencies like the one you're going to hear from and other agencies that we're fortunate that are in our community to make some change towards this. If you look in the brochure that I passed out to you or that you'd find on your chair, for the essence of time, I'm not going to read what you can yourself, but I do want to take a moment and just point out to you some of the ones that I find particularly noteworthy. This is basically kind of like a report card of, these are the goals, are we making progress towards this? You'll see over here in education, the one that stands out to me the most, 282 high school dropouts have earned their diploma through a United Way academic support lab. I think that's not only a win for those individuals and their families, but for us as an entire community. Income, you'll see that over 5,000 individuals and families received United Way funded legal assistance to increase their income. And that was through a free tax service that families whose household income was under a certain threshold could go and get their yearly taxes done for free. And you can see over 5,000 families taking advantage of that was just a real benefit to them. The other one here, over 2,500 adults screened in a United Way funded mental health care programs. That again is a real win for us as a community. So I'm here just to thank you for those who have participated, whether that be by giving of your time, by volunteering, whether that be giving of your dollars, just to say thank you. And if you have not given in the past, I would just ask you to please consider doing so. The last thing I want to point out in this brochure here is on that front cover, you'll see the Charity Navigator. Again, this was an education that I got that I did not previously know, but the United Way of Central Iowa has been ranked for the 9th year in a row in the top 1% of all charities nationwide. That blew me away. And it's not United Way as a whole, it's our United Way here in Central Iowa is ranked that high, which just says something about the stewardship that they use of the dollars that are given. So some of those dollars do go to fund various different programs, one of which you're going to hear about now. So I'm going to invite Tim from Hawthorne Hill to come up and share about some of the great work that he's doing.
Hi, I'm Tim Shanahan, Hawthorne Hill. We've been a nonprofit in Des Moines since 1978. Actually been a United Way agency since 1990. We serve homeless families with children. We've been doing that since 1986. Last year in 2012, we served 153 homeless families with children. We do that through 2 different programs. One of those is New Direction Shelter, which is an emergency shelter for mothers with children. We served 110 families in 2012 at New Direction Shelter. It's located just right by 31st Street and Grand Avenue. With that program, the mothers can stay with us with their children up to 30 days. The most important thing we do, besides providing the shelters, we provide the supporting services. We work with a lot of other United Way agencies. Many of those you're probably very familiar with: primary health care, Iowa Homeless Youth, Busy Nurse Services, etc., to help those mothers get moved into more permanent housing, also to help them with any kind of employment opportunities they might be eligible for, get them signed up for any public benefits we can, get them connected to any services we can to be able to help them get out of the issue of being homeless. The other program we have is called the Home Connection Program, and that's what we call a permanent supportive housing program. Again, that's for homeless families and children. It can be for single mothers, be single fathers, or couples. We actually had 27 housing units that are located throughout Des Moines. In fact, we just purchased 2 from the city of Des Moines. They used to be public housing units, excuse me. And in that program, we are taking the homeless families, and really our outcome of that program is to get those families to be financially independent, to get them to get out of the cycle of poverty that they've been mired in. Many of the families that we work with, their families have been in poverty 3 or 4 generations. So sometimes it can be quite a bit of work to get them out of that cycle of poverty, and hopefully then be able to have their children have a really good opportunity in life and be contributing members of our community. I didn't bring a dog, but and I didn't bring a client either, but I did the best Nick thing. This is Eve, and Eve currently is in the Home Connection program, single mother, 4 young, very rambunctious boys. Actually lives in one of our homes on Meek, which is just west of ML King. She came to us at New Direction Shelter, and then we had her go into the Home Connection program and doing very, very well. And what I'm going to do just to end this, I'm going to read a brief letter for Eve. We have an annual fundraising event, imagine that being a nonprofit, and we try to get some of our families to come to tell their stories to the people that come to the event. And Eve agreed to do that. You imagine, it can be, there's usually about 150, 170 people. Plus, you're also talking about the issue that you were homeless. And so that can be embarrassing. And anyway, so instead of just giving a speech, what she did, she wrote a letter. And so if I could, I'm just going to read this letter really quickly. It's dark. There's not any. It's dark, so I can't see. Hello, everyone. My name is Eve, and I was given the honor and privilege to speak about New Direction Shelter Program. Words cannot express my appreciation for this program, and it has given me a new chance in life. My background started in Chicago, where there are not many opportunities like there are here in Iowa. In Chicago, I was unfortunately involved in an abusive relationship and homeless. I searched different shelters to house myself and my 4 children, but there were not many opportunities for us. Seeing the doors from different places close right in front of me left me depressed and hopeless. I heard about a program in Iowa that had a housing program. It was my only hope. I left what I knew to try a new start, a new life with my children in a place I'd never been, Des Moines, Iowa. Upon arrival, New Direction Shelter had an opening, and I was able to stay in the shelter for 1 month. During the short 30 days I stayed at New Direction Shelter, the staff assisted me with signing up for benefits and helped me create a resume. I secured a job almost immediately because I was able to obtain child care and was given bus tokens to ensure I'd have reliable transportation. New Directions also helped me find housing for my family and my 4 children. In the 3rd week of staying at New Directions, I was approved for the Home Connection program. The Home Connection program helped me get my life back in order, such as setting goals for myself and my family, and it gave me the tools I needed to accomplish my goals. Since entering the program in August, I have learned the importance of structure for my children, and I have created and followed a daily routine for them. We have joined the YMCA and became more active, and my oldest 2 boys are involved in baseball with the YMCA. I have taken nutrition classes to educate myself and my family in healthy food choices. I have set and achieved many goals for myself, and the biggest accomplishment I've made is I attained my high school diploma through DMAC. As I mentioned before, words cannot express my gratitude for New Direction Shelter and the Home Connection program. As the name implies, it has truly given our family a new direction in life. After going through so many things in my life, we are truly blessed to be a part of this program. Thank you very much, Eve. And we would not be able to provide that help to Eve without the support of United Way. And without your support of United Way, we wouldn't be able to get that much needed funding, along with many other agencies that serve all those that are in our community. Kind of a little bit more on Eve. She read this last April, and since then, she did get her CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant. Then in August, she went back to DMAC and got her advanced CNA, which is an additional 80 hours of training. And just last month, she got a full-time job with Broadlawns Hospital. So she is definitely on her way. Hopefully we'll be able to kick her out of the program in a year because she's going to be close to financial independence. And again, this wouldn't occur without your support of United Way. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, League Tim. Next up, we have the Animal Rescue League of Iowa, and we'll hear from Stephanie Filer.
need this? Yes? Okay. Well, thank you for having us. I'm sure most of you know about the ARL, so I won't go on and on about the details that you already know, and instead we'll talk to you about stuff you probably don't know. We actually don't receive any United Way funding, no federal funding, no state funding, and the only money that we get from county and the city of Des Moines is to pay for animal control services. And I can tell you it does not fund that program. So there's often a misconception that because Animal Rescue League does animal control for Des Moines, that we're funded by the city of Des Moines, and we are very much not. So what our donation dollars do are they go to help relieve the community. We do a lot with people that people don't really realize. So we work with a lot of agencies to collaborate. I'll give you a couple examples. Just this week, we had a call from the police and mobile crisis that there was a homeless man who was having a meltdown, basically, and needed to get help. They worked with him, got him his help, and he had a dog that was just kind of running around. It wasn't doing anything, but they don't allow him in the homeless shelters, and he needed some resources there. So we worked with them to talk to him about keeping his dog under control for the public safety, etc. Took the dog, got it updated on some vaccinations, got him a collar, leash, tags, all of that, and then helped make resources for him. If he wanted to stay in the shelter, we would take the animal so that he could go into the shelter and get help. Another situation that we did that for a woman, she had gone to a homeless shelter and with a little pug, and they had turned her away because they don't allow dogs. And so we had worked with her to actually keep the dog for about 2 months. She got back on her feet, got housing, and was reunited with the dog this week. So we work a lot with people. Right now we have a program called Pets for Life that we're going into the 50314, the Drake neighborhood, and beyond. We're giving away free vaccinations, free food, dog food, cat food, free spay neuter surgeries, all of that, because people are making personal sacrifices in order to care for their pets. For a lot of them, it's all they have, and they even still are sharing their own food with them, or there's public safety concerns with dog bites for dogs that are unaltered or unvaccinated. So we're working with them to give them the resources that they need that they just can't afford. But beyond that, we also work with the domestic violence shelters that 46% of women, typically women, delay leaving their abuser for fear that their pet will be hurt or injured in retaliation, and they usually are. But the shelters can't allow pets for a lot of reasons. So we have it worked out that 24/7, we will work with law enforcement, emergency rooms, and the shelters that they can call us, and we'll come get the animal, get it somewhere safe, and then they can get the help that they need. And once they're somewhere where they can be reunited with the pet, then we'll help them with that. Also do a lot with partnering with the Pet Project, who does dog food and cat food pantry, because we were finding that people, again, were sacrificing their own food and giving it to their pets. So by giving their pets food, they're now taking advantage of the resources meant for people. And then are doing a lot with dog bite prevention and education. There's a huge issue with dog bites, not only in our community, but across Iowa. And we bring dogs into schools to talk to kids about how to safely greet unknown dogs, what not to do, talk about proper treatment of animals, because the majority of bites that happen are happening to kids. And just because of the height of kids, their faces are a lot lower, and so usually the injuries are more significant than they are with adults. And then going forward, we're working a lot with other cities and the city of Des Moines to try to enhance the ordinances for pet safety so that reckless owners are punished and people are protected from dangerous animals. So that's a really quick update on what we're doing that you probably don't know. This year we'll have 16,000 animals that we'll care for. Most of them are coming from Des Moines, Polk County area, but we do also take animals from other areas of the state when asked to by law enforcement. So usually cruelty cases, puppy mills, large hoarding operations that we'll assist with, but otherwise, majority of it's coming from right here. Any questions? All
All right, well, I left some information then. Thank you.
Okay, up next is Greater Des Moines Habitat for Humanity, and we will hear from Daniel.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm with Habitat. My name is Danielle. I'm the volunteer manager. So I'm just going to briefly talk about Habitat, the families that we partner with, and then touch on our resource. How many of you have volunteered with Habitat before? Okay. Well, Habitat, we are a nonprofit organization based on Christian principles, and our vision is a community where everyone has a decent place to live. We do that with a couple different programs. One is our homeownership program, and the other is our Rock the Block program.
What would you like me
The Kim Word document. So our homeownership program, the families that purchase their home with a 20-year no-interest mortgage at the cost of land and materials. And with our Rock the Block program, my picture's not popping up. Rock the Block program, it's for existing homeowners. We assist existing homeowners with minor home repair, beautification, weatherization, safety, accessibility, things like that. The families in our homeownership program, they have to meet 3 criteria. They have to have a need, such as living in substandard or cost-burdened housing. They have to have the ability to pay, so they make between 30 and 60% of the median area income for their family size in Polk County, which means a family of 4 makes about $36,000 a year. And then they also have to be willing to partner with us. Our families put in between 300 and 400 hours of what we call sweat equity. 300 hours if they're purchasing a rehabbed home, 400 hours if they are purchasing a new construction home. This year, our goal is to move 27 families into affordable homeownership. That's the most we've done a year, so that's very exciting. Since 1986, when we were first established, we've moved over 200 families into affordable homeownership. Like I said, that is exciting for us. These are a couple pictures of some of the families that have purchased homes. Kim and her family, she is the grandmother of AJ and Kaisha, and she adopted them, and it just happened to be that the adoption came through on the same day that she was had a dedication and was able to purchase their home. So that was a really exciting thing for her, that she'd be able to have a place to call home and raise her grandchildren. For us, Habitat is more than just about home ownership. It's about breaking the cycle of poverty. So statistics show that when people live in a home and instead of rental situations and moving from place to place, their math scores are higher by 7%, reading scores are higher by 9%. There's a decrease in behavioral problems, and they're also more likely to own their own home as well. On average, for Des Moines, a 3-bedroom rental costs over $950 a month. With Habitat and the no-interest mortgage, we're able to provide a $500 a month, roughly, mortgage for those families. So that extra money for them means being able to spend it on education and other things to better their family situation. And the other family is Mongol and Santa, and so we have families from all walks of life. We have grandmothers who adopt their children, we have single mothers, and then we also have refugee families. And this family lived in refugee camp for quite a while before they were able to come here. And then they found out about the program from some of their friends, and they are purchasing a home this year from us. So that's a little bit about our homeownership program. And then Rock the Block, we have completed over 300 owner-occupied repair projects. This year our goal is to complete over 100. We actually have a Rock the Block event happening right now in the Chesterfield neighborhood. It's a rainy day, so kind of sad for the 100 or so volunteers that we have out there today. But so again, it's just helping families that wouldn't otherwise be able to make these improvements on their home themselves. A lot of them are elderly. Examples of some projects would be replacing siding or some windows, building handicap ramps, things like that, just making it easier and better for families, existing homeowners. Has anyone shopped in our Restore before? Okay, a couple of you. That's just another way to help our mission. Restore is our discount home improvement store. It sells new and gently used home improvement materials, windows, doors, flooring, paint, even area rugs, you name it. We have lots of good stuff there. The great thing about the Restore is that it covers our operational costs. So when people do make donations to Habitat, it goes straight towards our programming. So it's not going towards keeping our lights on or our building, things like that. So it's really nice for people who donate to us. We're located just off I-235 and the Euclid exit, so the last exit going north out of Des Moines, just west of the interstate. We're open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's open to the public. Anyone can shop there. And if you're also doing some remodeling yourself and don't know what to do with your old light fixtures or doors, things like that, you can donate those to our store and receive a tax receipt. We divert over 2,000 tons of material from going to the landfill each year. So, and then another cool thing about the Restore is we now offer the tool lending library, and it's $200 a year for membership, but it's based on a sliding scale. So you can provide your income. So the families that qualify for a homeownership program or our families would be able to get the membership at a discounted price. So it goes anywhere from $200 all the way down to $25 a year, so that people who are low income can also continue to make those improvements on their homes affordably as well. Do you guys have questions about Habitat, or is there anything that I skipped over that anyone knows and would like me to share? I guess I would like to share probably my favorite story, and it's Carla. She purchased her home, the Habitat 2010 build, which is just south of the historic East Village. And she went from being homeless to being in the House of Mercy. And in the House of Mercy, she heard about the Habitat program. And in 2010, she was able to purchase her home, and she also graduated from nursing school. So she was going through nursing school while completing her hours of sweat equity and attending the classes, and also taking care of her two boys who are now 12 and 9. And about a year after she purchased her home, she came and spoke to our staff Christmas party, and she said that her youngest son always slept at the foot of her bed, always slept there every night. And then one day, she woke up and he wasn't at the foot of her bed, and so, it was exciting for her, and she said, "Hey, you no longer at the foot of my bed, what happened?" And he just said, "Because I know this is home." And before, he was worried that he'd wake up and she wouldn't be there, or they'd have to leave in the middle of the night, or they were going from place to place, and he just always wanted to be near her as possible. And he didn't feel that anymore, and he just had the sense that he knew that this is home and this is where they were going to stay. And it was just very nice to hear that, I guess, and sad, but so happy that that's something that they now have in the Habitat. So.
Do you guys have any questions? Okay, up next we have Carol Stone with the Kiwanis Miracle League.
Oh, I just see if here's shooting. If he doesn't fall down. Well, maybe he will. We'll see. As she said, I'm Carol Stone, and I'm a volunteer board member with the Kiwanis Miracle League. And how many of you have been down to the Miracle League field? Quite a few. And if you haven't, you're really missing out on something special. We started back in 2005 to consider building a Miracle League field. We first opened for our first play in the fall of 2008 and finished our fundraising and finished building the field so that we were able to play in 2009, 2 full seasons. Took about $1.5 million of fundraising to get the field built. We're right down across the street from Principal Park, and it looks like a little mini Principal Park right across. The kids have a lot of fun. Our purpose in life is to provide kids like these, the special needs kids, a chance to play baseball on a team, because so often they get left out of team sports because of various conditions that they may be encountering and having challenges with. So this little guy right here is a member of the Cardinals team. And this was taken a couple of years ago. He's a little bigger than this now, but he still plays. The kids range in age from 5 to 18, and their families don't pay anything for them to play on the Miracle League. They get no registration fee. They get their team uniforms for free. They get a shirt and a cap with their team logo on it. They have gloves provided to them. We provide the baseballs and the bats, and of course the facility that we keep up. And all of that is funded by donations, almost entirely. We have a little bit of income from the concessions. We really try to keep our concessions priced pretty reasonably because these families are financially challenged as it is. So we want them to come and have fun and not worry about the expense of it. The other thing that the Miracle League really does is provide an outlet for community volunteers. And we've had tremendous success getting the community involved. The opportunities for volunteers are extensive, and I think the ones that most people participate in are to come down and play ball with the kids as buddies. That's one of the things that's unique about the Miracle League experience for the kids is each child has a buddy assigned to them to help them play ball in whatever way that they need help. So some of them do pretty well at playing on their own. They're pretty able-bodied, and they can swing the bat and they can run the bases, so their buddy pretty much just stays with them and makes sure that they're safe and that they stay on task, that they continue around the bases and don't get off, somewhere else. Some of the children need a lot of help. Some of them need help holding the bat. If they're in a wheelchair, they may need someone to help push the wheelchair around the bases. But the Miracle League field is a very special place because there are no hurdles for them. This field is a smooth surface, so wheelchairs, walkers can just roll right across the field, and so it's a safe place for them to play. And as I said, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of community involvement. The City of Des Moines employees have been very generous with donations, and we're hoping that they will be again this year, because I said it takes about $35,000 a year to run the league and maintain the facility. So we do rely on the generosity of the community to help us with the financial aspect. And we also rely on a volunteer group. We need about 200 volunteers every Saturday that we play to come down and help accomplish this, and they show up. And it's great. And for instance, we have the Des Moines Police and Fire Department every year come down and they do a special night, and the kids love that. They just absolutely love to see them show up in uniform and play ball with them. And I think the volunteers get just as much of a kick out of it as the kids do. So it just is a place where there are smiles all around. The parents get a chance to sit back and kind of watch their children play ball, just like they would any other child that might not have the needs that these children have. And the volunteers get to go out and help the kids, and it's a very happy place. We have a lot of stories that we could tell about individual children, from James, who is almost completely blind, that we use a special ball that emits a tone, and he can hit a pitched ball because he can hear it coming. We have other children who are just so joyous. Matt, who tomahawks the ball, instead of swinging it this way, swings it this way, and he can hit it, and then he whoops all the way around the bases, cheering himself on, and of course it gets a big reaction from the crowd. So it's a lot of fun. If you haven't been down to watch games, you should come. We're going to be playing this Saturday, tomorrow, from 9 to 4, assuming the weather will allow us to. And then our last Saturday for this fall season will be the following Saturday, the 12th, from 9 to 4. And then we'll pick up again in the spring, and we'll do 6 weeks in the spring and 6 weeks in the fall. It's all run by volunteers, and as I said, all funded by donations. So we appreciate your participation in the past and hope that the employees will continue to support us. We're having a lot of fun. Come join us. Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to hear from the Des Moines Community Action Agency, Barb Hildebrandt and Rachel Sudeman.
I'm going to go back to that. I'm sorry. I don't know that I can do that from here. I just have to do it on the computer. It shouldn't be. Oh, there it was. I said that. Okay. So you want this one? You just want to click through?
Yeah.
Well, we can do a slideshow if you want.
I will. I'm pretty loud. I never really needed a mic before. Good afternoon. Thanks for coming out on this really lovely Friday afternoon. And I know it's probably the last place you want to be, because if you're like me, when it rains, you want to nap. But we're all here, and I'll try to be entertaining. And there's a dog in the lobby. So I'm so thankful not to be after the dogs. I've been after the dogs and the children in the past, and it's not quite as enjoyable. But there you go, so you get me. My name is Barb Hildebrand, and I work for the City of Des Moines Community Action Office as a Family Development Specialist. And if you don't know very much about the Community Action Office, a little about, I consider us kind of the social services arm of the City of Des Moines, or you'll probably better know us as the providers of lighting. We do a lot of the energy assistance for people and try to keep them in their houses, and got a number of programs. So today what I'm here to talk about is our holiday food project. And if you look, this is a very fabulous picture of all of our baskets. It all starts with one canned good. Each year we put the baskets together as a conglomeration of lots of community donations, and they support our projects. Need better glasses. Our baskets serve two basic purposes for our families. Number one, it's staples for the holiday meal, and secondary, it is extra food items for the holiday break. A lot of our families have children who receive 1 to 2 meals each day through the Des Moines Public Schools, and those meals are not available during winter break. So when we assemble our baskets, we put together items that will allow them to have extra food items with them. We could not do our baskets without the help of our many, many volunteers. And many of you have been, see a few familiar faces have come and helped us fill our baskets and unload our boxes of canned goods. It's a very time-intensive project, and we're a very small organization, and we appreciate all the help. So as you get the email, when we need volunteers, we'd love to see you come down and help us. In our baskets, in addition to all of the canned goods, we do a $20 gift certificate. And the $20 gift certificate allows families to buy perishable items. They're required to buy food with them, and so a lot of our families will purchase a turkey or milk or produce, whatever they can do. We can't really put those in the baskets because we don't have the ability to keep the boxes cold or preserved. As you can see, if you know this room, we do this at the Catholic Diocese. They donate this room to us for 2 weeks, and it starts out with the assemblance of the boxes, and then we move to sorting all of our food. And it looks bare in here, but by the end of the project, these tables are full. A family of 3 who would get a holiday food basket with us would basically get these items. Each basket varies just a little bit based on what our donations are, but these gives you an idea of what's in each basket. Every family that receives a basket from us has been screened through the Community Action Office, which means they meet the 150% guideline, that poverty guideline that we use, which means a family of 3 would have to make less than $29,295. On distribution day, the families come and pick up their baskets. And they're given a basket and a gift certificate to their local grocer. We do this with the help of more volunteers, and you can kind of see in the background, we've got some ROTC kids that come and help every year. They come in rain, snow, heat of night. They take naps immediately following because we keep them very busy because they're directing traffic, they're loading these baskets into cars out in front of the diocese. We appreciate being able to be here because this project really, really would not be able to be a part of what we do at the Community Action Agency, because each year we are affected by budget cuts like all of you. And each year we try to serve more and more clients. The nice thing about us is that every person who receives a basket, they have been screened and they do meet financial guidelines, and they are only receiving one basket. We run all of our families through a clearinghouse with other agencies that are providing holiday meals, so that each family is receiving one box instead of one family over here receiving 3 and this family receiving none. So it's a really well-managed project, and we really could use your help. So as you're trying to decide which of the agencies that you're going to support, please choose the Community Action Holiday Food Box. And now you get the dog. Thanks, everyone.
Here we go.
I don't want this.
That's all right. It's fine. It's all right. I got it. That's what I'm here for.
You were very familiar. I'm going to. That's what we said before. See, I will take good care of you.
Okay, next we're going to hear from Jane Flanagan with Hospice of Central Iowa.
Are you Amanda? Nice to meet you. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to give you 3 words: comfort, dignity, and care. Those are the 3 words that inspire our work every day. It's important that we provide those types of things for people at the end of life. And the other thing that we can provide them is really a holistic level of care at HCI Care Services, formerly known as Hospice of Central Iowa. You might want to ask why we changed our name. Well, the way things are these days, we've decided we had to get a little diverse. So we're also providing other types of care, such as some private duty for people who maybe need a little bit extra, and then also palliative care, which I think you're going to hear more about just in the whole community. But it's really another type of care similar to the holistic care that hospice provides, but it's just a little bit different. The organization that I represent also helps to run the Kavanaugh houses, and those are both in Des Moines. And are most people aware of those? One story that we talk about in our annual report that is going to be coming out soon is the story of a man who drove up to that facility, Kavanaugh House on 56th Street, and he had an old truck with all his belongings, and he came into our building and he said, "The doctor just told me I had a week to live, and I don't know what to do. Everything I own is in this truck." And he said, "Will you take care of me?" And we said, "Yes, we will." So employees didn't have to call anyone. They didn't have to get an okay from anyone. They just know that we will do that because it was the right thing to do. So we cared for him, and he kind of lived like a king for a little while. At least he thought so, because he had a great deal of respect given to him and a lot of dignity. A number of years ago, we cared for a man, and he was homeless and actually had some relatives, and they didn't really know exactly where he was. And one of the things that we were able to do was to give his family a call and to let them know that we were caring for him. And got a wonderful thank you from one of the brothers a while back. Just very, very grateful that he knew that his brother was cared for and he wasn't alone at the end of his life. We care for people, all walks of life, rich or poor. No one is turned away regardless. So we do appreciate the generous City of Des Moines employees, and we can't do it without the community support. We have about 200 employees, and the majority of them are in the greater Des Moines area, and then we also have other counties that we care for, and it's through our collective work that we're able to really make a difference in the lives of people. When I do a lot of these talks, I bring a thank you letter, usually a couple thank you letters, but I didn't bring them today. Sometimes you got to change things up. But I was going to share with you another story from our annual report, and it has to do with a younger family. Actually, when the couple found out that they were going to have a child, they also found out that he had ALS. and which is Lou Gehrig's disease. Some of you might know it by that. And it was when we had some social workers working with the family that they found out the little girl really wanted to have a princess birthday party. And for the parents, that just seemed a little bit overwhelming for them to organize and to line up and get the people there. Well, that's stuff that we just love to do. We have volunteers that help us with that. And we actually had a princess party complete with a princess. So it was a wonderful memory for them, and they were able to do something special for their little girl during kind of a tough time. And, you know, wonderful memories of that time together. And it's what we try to do every day, which is make people realize that they have a lot of living to do, even though they're close to the end of their days. So does anyone have any questions or anything I can clarify? All right, well, I'll hand it back to you. And I know I'm not going back to work after this. So. Thank you.
Sandy? So next up we have Iowa Shares, and I'm going to let Sandy go ahead.
Good afternoon, and thank you for taking some time away from your job and being here to hear all of our presentations. I'm with Iowa Shares, and over there we have brochures and actually hopefully some posters that y'all may be able to put up, because we're trying to take a little bit different approach this year. We're trying to look at the fact of how change truly impacts people's lives and how hard change really is. And the fact that the monies that you're giving us is something that really helps us work on those grassroots causes that our organizations are working on, and the fact that they're making change every day in people's lives and making change in the communities in which we live in. The fact that we are a coalition, one of 3 federations that actually can go into workplaces and work with folks that they can donate money to nonprofit organizations here. We have 16 organizations that we work with throughout Iowa, and we are able to work on issues such as social justice, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and human rights issues, local food access, environmental quality, the arts and culture, animal welfare, international peace, long life learning and literacy, and renewable energy. And those are just a few of the issues that our organizations can work on. And one of the things that really excites me this year is that we're working with organizations that can touch so many lives. The organization that really excites me is called Kids Network, and they work with finding foster care and adoptive families, and they work in every one of our 99 counties. And here in Des Moines this last year, they were able to find 160 new families to work as adoptive or foster families for kids simply here in the Des Moines area. I mean, it breaks my heart that that's necessary, but it excites me that they are now working with us because of the monies that they get from the state simply don't cover their programs. And so they're now working with us so that people such as yourselves can help them make sure that those kids are able to have adoptive or foster care parents. And one of the other things with their program is that some of the work that they do is that some of those kids, with the money that we're able to give them, is that they can actually get some brand new pajamas that aren't handed down. You know, that was one of the stories of one of the young kids, and just the excitement on her face of the fact that she was getting a pair of pajamas that didn't come from somebody else. Or the fact that the LGBT group was able to work with kids who have been kicked out of their homes because of the fact that the young man was gay, and he had such a desire to continue high school. He worked with some of the groups so that he could be in a safe place during the day, and when he wasn't in school, because he would still go to where he went to school, and with the support of the organizations, he was still able to graduate with his high school class, even without the support of his family. And it's like, so the monies that you're giving to these organizations are able to help kids that are kicked out of their homes, kids that really are looking for foster care and adoptive care parents. We're helping the environment, clean up the rivers, and making sure that, you know, some of the folks that are not able to do the things that are necessary, we're helping. The biggest thing that Iowa Shares really looks at is the word choice. You all get to decide who gets the money. And the organizations get to decide how much work they're going to put into the organization. We're based on sweat equity. We have simply a part-time paid employee, and the rest of the work is done by volunteers. And so we have a pool of undesignated money, and that money is distributed to the organizations based on how much time they've given to the organization. So nobody's sitting in a brick and mortar building deciding who's going to get the money, but we as organizations decide how much work we're going to give so that we, again, have choice. So you have a choice as to helping us. And so that's how we have one of our group members here today, and this is called Pause and Effects. So yes, we have another dog. Hi, Laura. We'll let Laura talk about their organization.
Do I win for best visual aid anyway? This is Oscar. Good boy. We are with Pause and Effect, and I'm just a volunteer, so I'm his raiser. And basically, he will get placed with a combat veteran next March. We raise them for about 2 years, and we do a couple key things. He will get placed with a combat veteran, but actually Hy-Vee came on board earlier this year with one of our more newer litters, and they're actually supporting some of them that will then go to autistic children. They have some of the same kind of social anxiety types of issues, because a lot of, really the majority of the guys or combat veterans that get these dogs have pretty bad PTSD, some post-traumatic stress. Sometimes they also have some mobility issues, so we teach him. In fact, he's hilarious because I can't even open my refrigerator or a drawer without him taking his nose, and he keeps closing it on me. So he knows what he's supposed to do. For anybody who needs that kind of help, I think he's finding crumbs. One thing he still has left to do, which the organization really tries to, in that last year before we place them, we do a big training trip to New York City. So we fly on a plane, commercial airline. He needs to tuck in, under the seat in front of me, layover, everything. And then when we get to New York City, he gets to experience, chaotic, extremely noisy, big city. He gets to ride subways multiple times. We ride a ferry back and forth. They really just get to experience a lot of things. And you figure if they can do well there, they can handle Iowa or the Midwest, and most of the guys are from the Midwest. Another huge goal of the organization is that they really want to be sure that, after these veterans have served their country and they come back here, that we need to help them. And a lot of service organizations, or service dog organizations, they still have to pay a fee for their dog, and with Pause and Effect, they do not. So when it's time for placement, they'll come in, and usually they stay out at Camp Dodge, and we pay for all their, lodging and food and everything. And then a big part of that 2-week training is, it's kind of up to the dogs and the people to kind of see who matches with who, because there has to be some kind of a bond there. And then they spend some time doing some basic dog understanding, some dog husbandry, and then teach them how to work with the dogs. They teach them that if they want to go home and train them to do something real specific, that they have the skills to do that. They also get to go out to the airport and kind of practice getting on a plane, and you don't even know how big of a deal that is for these guys to know that this dog's already done it, they've already flown. I mean, they tend to be very stressed in every situation. They go to a movie, they go to the mall, and really just see that, okay, this dog's going to be there for me to support me through it, and they don't have to pay anything for that. And throughout the process, he gets his eyes checked, he's had x-rays for his hips so that we make sure that the dog is very healthy and good to go, because once the dog is placed with that person, then they will have to pay all the veterinary bills and things after that, and we wouldn't want to, place them with a dog that was going to all of a sudden rack up some big bills or something. I have raised one for 2 years that got placed last March, and I have to say, it's one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done, as well as the hardest. I bawled for weeks. If you're a dog lover, it's really tough, but they create kind of a closed Facebook site for us with just the recipients and then the people who raise the dog. So we get some, periodic feedback, and I get to hear about my little Missy Ava and how good she's doing and how much she's helping him. And he had a couple knees replaced at the age of 30, and he's very private, didn't really explain what happened, but, so he could walk, but just pretty slow. And so he kind of had difficult kind of going up hills and ramps. And so he taught Ava to toe. So normally they stay on our right-hand side because most of the handicap plates are on the right, and if they would happen to be in a wheelchair, you don't want the dog to have to cross in front each time. And so when he says toe, then Ava knows to get out in front of him and help kind of pull him up those ramps. So it's a pretty neat, it's such a neat organization and such a wonderful thing. And I don't even have any relationship to anybody in the military, but I feel like I have my cushy life because of all the people who have gone before me, and it's just a wonderful way to help. And I love dogs, and we are always looking for people who are willing to be raisers and help with that if you feel like you're good with dogs and have a lot of patience and a little extra time and things like that. So that's kind of the main overview. Any questions about it? All right. Thank you.
So, like I said, that's just one of our many organizations, and so I hope that you think about Iowa Shares, our organizations, and realize that any nonprofits that you may know of, we're always looking for new organizations, and we work with folks all across the state. So please take our information, and again, thank you so much for your time, and I thank Amanda for all the work that you've done to put this together. Thanks.
So it's good to end on a high note with a dog. I know I'm a dog lover, so that was nice. That wraps it up for today. Thank you all for coming, taking an hour out of your busy days to be here. There's info over by the door, and like I said, the website will go live on Monday, and I will send out the link. So thanks again.